222. Alcohol, other drugs, and driving. 222.1. Alcohol and driving. Drinking alcohol and then driving is very dangerous and a serious problem. People who drink alcohol are involved in traffic accidents resulting in over 20,000 deaths every year. Alcohol impairs muscle coordination, reaction time, depth perception, and night vision. It also affects the parts of the brain that control judgment and inhibition. For some people, one drink is all it takes to show signs of impairment. You must know how alcohol works in the human body, how alcohol affects driving, laws regarding drinking, drugs, and driving, legal, financial, and safety risks of drinking and driving. You may never drink while on duty or consuming any intoxicating beverage, regardless of its alcohol content, within 4 hours before going on duty. Effects of increasing blood alcohol content. Blood alcohol content is the amount of alcohol in your blood regarded in milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood. Your blood alcohol concentration depends on the amount of blood, which increases with weight, and the amount of alcohol you consume over time. How fast you drink. The faster you drink, the higher your blood alcohol concentration, as the liver can only handle about 1 drink per hour. The rest builds up in your blood. Let's see, a BAC of 0.02, effects on the body, mellow feeling, slight body warmth. Effects on driving condition, less inhibited. BAC 0.05, noticeable relaxation, less alert, less self-focused, coordination impairment begins. 0.08, definite impairment in coordination and judgment, drunk driving limit, impaired coordination and judgment. 0.1, noisy, possible embarrassing behavior, mood swings, reduction in reaction time. 0.15, impaired balance and movement, clearly drunk, unable to drive. 0.3, many lose consciousness. 0.4, most lose consciousness and some die. 0.5, breathing stops, many die. BAC of 0.1 means that 1/10 of 1% or 1/1000th of your total blood content is alcohol. Remember, it is illegal to drive a commercial motor vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration that is 0.04% or greater. Doing so will result in an immediate administrative driver's licensing sanction, admin per se, in accordance with CVC 13353.23. You may also be convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. However, a BAC below 0.04% does not mean that it is safe or legal to drive. How alcohol works. Alcohol goes directly into the bloodstream and is carried to the brain. After passing through the brain, a small percentage is removed in urine, perspiration, and breathing, while the rest is carried to the liver. The liver can only process 1/3 an ounce of alcohol per hour, which is considerably less than the alcohol in a standard drink. This is a fixed rate, so only time, not black coffee or a cold shower, will sober you up. If you have drinks faster than your body can get rid of them, you will have more alcohol in your body and your driving will be more affected. The BAC commonly measures the amount of alcohol in your body. All of the following drinks contain the same amount of alcohol: a 12-ounce glass of 5% beer, a 5-ounce glass of 12% wine, a 1 1/2 ounce shot of 80 proof liquor. What determines blood alcohol concentration? BAC is determined by the amount of alcohol you drink. More alcohol means higher BAC. How fast you drink. Faster drinking means higher BAC. And your weight. A small person does not have to drink as much to reach the same BAC. Alcohol and the brain. Alcohol affects more and more of the brain as BAC builds up. The first part of the brain affected controls judgment and self-control. One of the bad things about this is it can keep drinkers from knowing they are getting drunk. Of course, good judgment and self-control are absolutely necessary for safe driving. As BAC continues to build up, muscle control, vision, and coordination are affected more and more. Effects on driving may include straddling lanes, quick, jerky starts, not signaling and failure to use lights, running stop signs and red lights, improper passing. See figure 2.23. These effects mean increased chances of an accident and losing your driver's license. Accident statistics show that the chance of an accident is much greater for drivers who have been drinking more than for drivers who have not. How alcohol affects driving. All drivers are affected by drinking alcohol. Alcohol affects judgment, vision coordination, and reaction time. It causes serious driving errors such as increased reaction time to hazards, driving too fast or slow, driving in the wrong lane, running over the curb, weaving. 2.22.2 Other drugs. Besides alcohol, other legal and illegal drugs are being used more often. Laws prohibit possession or use of many drugs while on duty. They prohibit being under the influence of any controlled substance. Amphetamines, including pep pills, uppers, and bennies, narcotics, or any other substance which can make the driver unsafe. This could include a variety of prescription and over-the-counter drugs, cold medicines, which may make the driver drowsy or otherwise affect safe driving ability. However, possession and use of a drug given to a driver by a doctor is permitted if the doctor informs the driver that it will not affect the safe driving ability. Pay attention to warning labels for legitimate drugs and medicines and to doctors' orders regarding possible effects. Stay away from illegal drugs. Do not use any drug that hides fatigue. The only cure for fatigue is rest. Alcohol can make the effects of other drugs much worse. The safest rule is to not mix drugs with driving at all. Use of drugs can lead to traffic accidents resulting in death, injury, and property damage. Furthermore, it can lead to arrests, fines, and jail sentences. It can also mean the end of a person's driving career. 222.3 Illness. Occasionally, you may become so ill that you cannot operate a motor vehicle safely. If this happens to you, you must not drive. However, in case of an emergency, you may drive to the nearest place where you can safely stop. 223 Hazardous Materials Rules for all commercial drivers. All drivers should know something about hazmat. You must be able to recognize hazardous cargo and know whether or not you can haul it without having an H endorsement on your CDL. If you apply for an original or renewal H endorsement, you must undergo a Transportation Security Administration TSA Federal Security Threat Assessment background records check. You start the TSA background records check after you apply for your CDL at a DMV. Successfully complete all appropriate knowledge tests and submit a valid medical form. You must submit fingerprints, a fee, and any additional required information to one of TSA's designated agents. You must also provide the TSA agent with a copy of your CLP and one of the following ID documents: a California DL ID card, an out-of-state DL, your CLP, accompanied by a DMV photo receipt. What are hazardous materials? Hazmat are products that pose a risk to health, safety, and property during transportation. Why are there rules? You must follow the many rules about transporting hazmat. The intent of the rules is to contain the product, communicate the risk, ensure safe drivers and equipment. Contain the product. Many hazardous products can injure or kill on contact. To protect drivers and others from contact, the rules tell shippers how to package products safely. Similar rules tell drivers how to load, transport, and unload bulk tanks. These are containment rules. Communicate the risk. The shipper uses a shipping paper and diamond-shaped hazard labels to warn dock workers and drivers of the risk. After an accident or hazmat spill or leak, you may be injured and unable to communicate the hazards of the materials you are transporting. Firefighters and police can prevent or reduce the amount of damage or injury at the scene if they know what hazmat is being transported. Your life and the lives of others may depend on quickly locating the hazmat shipping papers. For that reason, you must identify shipping papers related to hazmat or keep them on top of other shipping papers. You must also keep shipping papers in or on a pouch on the driver's door. Clear view within reach while driving. The driver's seat when out of the vehicle. 2.23.3 Lists of regulated products. Placards are used to warn others of hazmat. Placards are signs put on the outside of a vehicle that identify the hazard class of the cargo. A placarded vehicle must have at least 4 identical placards. They are put on the front, rear, and both sides. Placards must be readable from all four directions. They must be at least 9.84 or 250 millimeter inches square, turned upright on a point and in a diamond shape. Cargo, tanks, and other bulk packaging display the ID number of their content on placards or orange panels. ID numbers are a 4-digit code used by first responders to identify hazmat. An ID number may be used to identify more than one chemical on shipping papers. The ID number will be preceded by the letters NA or UN. The U.S. Emergency Response Guidebook, or ERG, lists the chemicals and ID numbers assigned to them. Hazard class definitions. Class 1, explosives, like example, ammunition, dynamite, fireworks. Class 2, gases, such as propane, oxygen, helium. Class 3, flammable, such as gasoline, acetone. Class 4, flammable solids, such as matches and fuses. Class 5, oxidizers like ammonium nitrate, hydrogen peroxide. Class 6, poisons like pesticides, arsenic. Class 7, radioactive, such as uranium, plutonium. Class 8, corrosives like hydrochloric acid, battery fluid. Class 9, miscellaneous hazardous materials like formaldehyde and asbestos. Here we have Class None, ORMD, other regulated material domestic, hairspray or charcoal, combustible liquids like fuel, oils, lighter fluid. Not all vehicles carrying hazmat need to have placards. The rules about placards are given in Section 9 of this handbook. You can drive a vehicle that carries hazmat if it does not require placards. If it requires placards, you cannot drive it unless your driver's license has an H endorsement. The rules require all drivers of placarded vehicles to learn how to safely load and transport hazardous products and to have a CDL with the H endorsement. To get the required endorsement, you must pass a knowledge test on material found in Section 9 of this handbook. An X endorsement is required for CMVs that transport liquid or gaseous materials within a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or chassis. A CMV transporting an empty storage container tank not designed for transportation with a rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is temporarily attached to a flatbed trailer is not considered a tank vehicle. Note, an endorsement is not necessary for the operation of vehicles that do not require a CDL. Drivers who need the H endorsement must learn the placard rules. If you do not know if your vehicle needs placards, ask your employer. Never drive a vehicle needing placards unless you have the H endorsement. To do so is a crime. When stopped, you will be cited and you will not be allowed to drive your truck. It will cost you time and money. A failure to placard when needed may risk your life and the lives of others if you have an accident. Emergency help will not know if you're hazardous cargo. Emergency help will not know of your hazardous cargo. Drivers who need an H endorsement must also know which products they can load together and which they cannot. These rules are also in Section 9. Before loading a truck with more than one type of product, you must know if it is safe to load them together. If you do not know, ask your employer and consult the regulations.